Hi, this is Aksh Kumar Kamlesh Mangukya and my student code is HIG 8001. And today we are going to talk about me and my colleague named Vishwamitra. We both are going to talk about rental crisis in Australia. And as we all know, Australia is a country where a lot of people migrate on a yearly basis, and there's always going to be shortage of food, electricity, and all the different housing amenities that's been used. But in recent years, because of the high level of migration, there has been an increase in people moving, and because of that, actually, there are no houses left for people. The Australian government can be seen pushing for houses in recent years, and we, as a team, tried to gather some data out of 50,000 social media posts. We analyzed everything and there were obviously two methods used to do it. First was quantitative, the second was qualitative. And in the quantitative method, we mostly had counts from people. We used chi-square. And in qualitative methods, there were themes, there were codes from different posts that were analyzed. And the findings that were made, as we can see in the presentation, affordability of the houses that are present are 48.2%, which is a reason that people do not go and buy in their houses. The second thing was, of course, housing conditions. Some of the people live in slum areas. They're not provided with all the facilities possible. And the third main part was tenant security. Well, if you observe people with tenant security, there have been a lot of break-ins. There have been a lot of, you know, intruders walking into your houses daily, and because of that, there have been a lot of houses abandoned by people just for their safety. And obviously, the goal of doing all of this is to find an evidence so we can advocate of how renters crisis in Australia has been a big issue in recent years and what are the policies to reform for it. But what we came across was there were different steps that we used. There were five different steps that we used for this research in particular. First was data cleansing. Second was we've identified key problems and we did the hypothesis of it. Third was mixed method analysis. Fourth, with all the findings that we made, we put them in a particular table and we figured out what we can do. And fifth was a recommendation to solve it out. And if you see in the example of data cleansing, let's suppose rent is too high for landlord to never fix anything. So suppose I'm staying in a house and if my rent is 750 per week and if the landlord, no matter what happens, there's a broken window, there's a broken toilet, there's a broken bathroom, we keep telling them to fix it, they don't. That just doesn't help is where the clean is rent is too high and the landlord actually never fixes anything. Why is this important? Because it consists of accuracy, consistency, and credibility. So this was the first method. Second method was the key issues and hypotheses. So what were the issues that we identified? Of course, we talk about it. Was affordability crisis. People could not afford the houses because of land prices and everything has been high recently. Then unsafe housing conditions and insecure tenants. Like anytime, anyone can be kicked out. And there was a most frequent issue, which was affordability, which was a key issue in hypothesis method because no matter what happens, if you're going to live in a house that costs $800 a week or so, and you're still not getting proper housing treatment that you should as a tenant, no one's going to say, no one's going to stay in it. And of course, in the quantitative results, if you can see, this was all the qualitative methods that we use. Now, the quantitative methods is going to be shared by my colleague. Thank you. Now, my colleague Vishwamitra is going to join you guys.
Hi, this is Vishwamitra and my student ID is EMV5743. Today I'm talking about the geographic insights of the quantitative analysis, which is the second step, that's theme by location. And today we'll show by the graph there are three types: the capital, territories, and other. In the capitals, the affordability domains by 50.6 percentage, and the territories housing conditions higher by 37.8%. In the others, there's a mix of 9.2% and other issues. Moving to the next slide, there's a statistical test. That's the third point. That's chi squared test. There's a formula x2 bracket 6 comma n is equal to 5080 bracket close is equal to 42.7 and p that's lower than 0.001. That's significant in regional differences. Moving to the next slide, voices of renters. That's qualitative. There are three types of that. The first one is I work full time but still can't pay rent without missing my meals, cause there are constant rise in the rent, so they feel suffocated and confronted. And the second one is the agent never fixes the leaks every time it rains, because there are a lot of housing circumstances. They complain about landlord neglecting repairs, leaks, pests, and windows. And the third one is evicted with 2 weeks notice, no chance to find another home, because there's a lot of tenant safety. Many people are worried about that because they feel evicted or losing their bond funds. Moving to the next slide, the recommendations. There are six types of recommendation. The first one is the support for accessibility. That's the push for rent caps or increased rental regulations. Uh, the next one is public awareness initiatives about housing quality to tell the tenants about their experience with inadequate and dangerous housing circumstances. The third one, policy and legal reform for stability of tenure. So that's the promote more strict landlord regulations regarding bond, conflicts, and evictions. The fourth one, that's establish collaborations for communities. So that collaborate with legal aid organizations, local tenant unions, and housing NGOs to pool resources. And the fifth one is continuous research and monitoring. So that's via social media scrapping and questioning, gathering renter input. The last one, that's the advocacy, emotional narrative approach. That's the mix qualitative voices with quantitative data, make public friendly, humanizing visual shares of the data. Thank you. And moving to the next conclusion, I got the three slides for the conclusion. The first one is affordability. There's a biggest crisis in there, so that's of 48 percentage. So the second one, that's housing conditions and tenant security are also getting critical. So the third one is evidence plus sympathy are getting more stronger advocacy to reform. Thank you.